Hey guys, Coop here, and today I want to talk about zone one heart rate training because this zone is one that's really often overlooked, but it's still valuable even if you're an athlete, even if you're already super fit. A lot of us tend to think like, okay, I've been exercising for a while, and if I'm not getting a good workout, I'm not doing anything. It's not valuable. But today I want to talk to you about zone one heart rate and why it is still valuable, whether you're just starting from scratch, you're completely sedentary, or you're already a fairly elite athlete. So as a reminder, zone one is like 50 to 64% of your maximum heart rate. And if you're just starting out with exercise, this is the zone that you want to start at. Because in this zone, you are getting more exercise than you previously were, which is going to increase circulation. It's going to raise your heart rate. There is going to be some simple math. You're going to burn a few calories. But the reality is that the primary benefit of this zone is that you metabolize glucose. So what does that mean? Well, whether you're an elite athlete or just starting out as exercising, you're not going to just store all the food that you eat. And so instead of that, you'll process your glucose, you'll get rid of the glucose, you'll use it up, you'll make your muscles become more insulin sensitive, which means that you'll be less likely to store what you eat as fat. So even if you're just starting out, it's not a simple matter of like, I'm going to walk until I burn 500 calories and burn off the meal that I just ate. Instead, what you're doing is you're training your metabolism to ramp up and either use the glucose or get rid of it instead of storing it long term. Now, if you're just starting out exercising, zone one is probably enough for you. But if you've been exercising for a while, zone one is still more important, but for different reasons. In zone one, you're moving a little bit. You might be elevating your core body temperature a bit, but you're probably not breaking a sweat if you have any kind of fitness at all. But it's still super valuable. So a lot of people are familiar with like the 10,000 steps a day goal. And 10,000 is kind of an arbitrary goal. It's still super valuable, whether you're getting other exercise or not. In zone one, you're taking those 10,000 steps, that's improving circulation and all the other stuff that you see here. But the reality is that most of the benefit that you get from walking happens between 4,000 and 6,000 steps, and then the benefit starts to taper off after that. So if you don't have time to do 10,000 steps a day, don't worry about it. And it's awesome to have a goal, but like if it's 9 o'clock p.m., you're getting ready for bed and you realize you got to do another 1,500 steps, you don't have to go for a walk around the block. Like settle down and get the rest. You've already achieved most of the benefits of getting this. If you're exercising though, it's easy to skip zone one exercise, and here's why you shouldn't. So number one, I talked about digestion, and there's a Chinese proverb saying that if you take 1,000 steps after dinner, you'll live to be 99 years old. And really what happens here is like the food comes in, you're starting to break it down, and now your body has to take one of two roads. It has to decide if you're at rest just to store the energy for another day, or if you're exercising to process that energy out, to use it up and to metabolize the glucose instead of storing it. So taking a short walk after dinner is great because not only do you burn off some of what you just ate, but you also stop yourself from storing the glucose in different parts of your body or as fat. So that's one thing. The second thing is that when you're doing zone one exercise, you're more likely to be outside. When you get up into like zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, you tend to do that in a more controlled environment. You might be in the gym, you might be at the pool, you might be on your bike trainer or on a treadmill. And while you can certainly hit zone 4, zone 5 outside, we are more likely to be outside doing zone 1 stuff. For me, who works out 4 or 5 times a week, zone 1 is like mowing the lawn with a push mower. This is more like walking on the beach than it is swimming, for example. And so people who are new to exercise actually have a tough time staying in zone 1 because their heart rate comes up really, really easily, and they usually jump to zone 2 or even 3. And so if you're just starting out or you're trying to lose weight, while you do get a lot of benefit from being in zone 2, keep an eye on your heart rate and make sure that you're not going up into like zone 3 and 4 right away until you're more familiar with exercise. Here's the big, beautiful part about zone 1 that I love the most, but really isn't talked about all that much, and that is flow state. So this is the state where your body is like just busy enough that it doesn't take much of your attention. So you're doing stuff that occupies you, right? You're pushing the lawnmower, you're piling wood, your body is busy, and so your mind is absolutely free. And there's a Buddhist phrase that calls this flow state thinking body, dancing mind. In the Western world, we call this a state of flow. You feel like you're on, like you're in the game, like you're more creative. Some people enter flow state while they're showering, but playing a game of catch or frisbee is another great way to get into that state. And people are usually happiest when they're in this peak flow state where their body is occupied, but not working crazy hard. They're not gasping for breath and their mind is free. A lot of people who like to go walking with a friend will say like, oh, I would never miss our walk. And part of that is the community relationship with the friend because you can be conversational, you're not racing. And part of that is also just entering flow state. You know, you're free to think about stuff without ruminating on it. Now, you do get a little bit of endorphins from this, but again, a big part of the benefit of zone one is that you're most likely to do it outside. There are very few things that you can do in your house that will trigger a zone one response, but some might be cleaning. Some people get into flow state while they're cleaning, and your mind is free, but your body is occupied. I said that some people get into flow state in the shower. Some people get into flow state singing in their car. So it doesn't take a lot to get there. All it takes is, you're doing something that keeps your body busy. If you're a super elite athlete, there are other benefits to training in zone one. Number one, it will hasten your recovery by improving circulation. Number two, it'll balance out if you've got some chronic injury problems going. Like, if all you ever do is clean and jerk and snatch on the barbell, then you need to be out walking or doing very, very light swimming, not even treading water. When you're thinking about zone one, don't think about like, I'm going to swim out till the water's over my head and then tread water. Think more like I'm going to walk along the beach or I'm going to play frisbee with my dog or fetch or something like that. Okay. So the benefits of training in zone one are big. If you're untrained, you should try to spend a minimum of 50 minutes per week in zone one. And that can come as one 50-minute bout or three like shorter 15-minute bouts. That alone will reduce your all cancer risk by about 23%. If you're more fit, the zone one benefits are you're getting outside, you're being conversational with somebody else, you are probably pushing back or recovering from chronic overuse, and you're spending time in flow state. So avoid the mentality that like, if it isn't hard, it's not worth doing, and adopt this mentality of, I need to spend time in each one of these heart rate zones for optimal health span.